Hello everyone, it's Nat aka Sarge and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video we will be looking at the Semi-Slav opening, which is a very solid opening that after the move that we can play after the move 1d4, which ultimately is very strong because a lot of inexperienced players won't know what to do against it, because after knight f6, c4, we're gonna get some sort of um, pawn structure that is very strong. And I don't know why my computer's lagging, guys. Yeah, be right. Okay, so for some reason I highlighted everything. But anyway, after this position, we get some sort of position that looks like this. And this is basically a midline semi-slav position. What I will be teaching you guys is the Meran. That's all I can possibly teach you right now because it's pretty much all I know. Huge shout out to my friend Sam who helped me learn this opening, and I actually have a course. My friend Sam has a course on my Discord chess server, which you guys can check out. I'll leave a link to join it in the description below. We have free lessons if you guys want to check it out, and I even have one of the complete English. So if you want to learn stuff like the Fernandez Gambit, which I'll do a video on, and full on semi-Slav like the Cambridge Springs and stuff, I highly recommend you check it out. But anyway, so big shout out to Sam, and let's get started. All right, so most times here, there's a lot of different things that black can play. But the one we'll be looking at today is Meran, which happens after d takes c4, bishop takes, and then we strike with b5. Now, b5 is a very solid move because we're just kicking out the bishop right after it takes, kind of like an Evans Gambit type thing. The bishop can come to b3, can come to d3. Most of the time, it'll come to d3, but I like playing bishop to e3 simply because it throws it off. Of course, for it is winning for black here slightly, like a6. But if you are playing someone who knows what they're doing and it's not in a tournament match, I highly recommend you check out bishop to b3 because it is a cool move. But yeah, bishop to d3 is just better because it focuses the attack right back on the enemy king. So if you are playing a tournament game, please do not play bishop to b3. It is losing. So anyway, after this position, we play the move a6, which is probably a very solid move because it just keeps all these pawns stable. And yeah, white is not getting through it anytime soon. So basically, after this move, there's like different things that white can do. So basically, white can castle his king and be perfectly safe here. And in this position, we can just shadow a bishop. We could play c5 in the future, but we're looking to do a lot of things. But what I will be mainly looking at first of all is the complex lines behind the move e4. Now e4 is a very solid move because first of all it gets some sort of weird hippo position, and it takes space in the center with these two pawns. As you can see, nothing is getting through without being taken. So anything that decides to just come in here is going to get taken. Why is there a horse in the middle of this? Right, anyway, you guys get the idea. We're basically controlling these four squares. So, right, after move e4, what we want to play here is the move c5. Now, c5 is a very strong move because there's a lot of different variations that happen from this, but we'll be mainly looking at e5. Now, if white does decide to take on c5 for whatever reason, we have a very nice trick that can help us win this e4 pawn. So let's go over that real quick. So we're going to take with knight, and this bishop can come to either here or here. Now, most of the time, it might slide back here, it could slide back here, but it doesn't really matter because we're just going to... Now, the bishop has to stay on this diagonal because if it doesn't, we are basically we can just take the pawn free already because we have two attackers and white only has one defense. So basically, the best move here is by the looks of it, bishop c2. So let's just play that, still keeping the defense of this pawn. All right. So after the move bishop c2, all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take with queen. Now, black can take with three different pieces. Black can take with the knight, black can take with the bishop, and black can take with the king. So basically what we want to do is, if white takes with the knight, we can simply take the pawn, and basically we just win the pawn. Like I said, so taking with the knight is not an option. If white does decide to take with the bishop, again losing that defense of that pawn, and once again we take here, and winning. So yeah, that's basically why we're gonna lose it. Of course, black can also take the king. And if black does take with the king, we have another series of moves that ultimately win back the e4 pawn. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to play bishop b7, adding more pressure onto the e5 pawn. Now, basically, they have to play e5 here. There's no other way. If black tries to defend the pawn with knight to g5, we play a6. Knight has to come back, and we simply just win that pawn. So it is winning here in this position. If they play knight to d2, we simply play b4, and once again, this knight has nowhere to run to protect the pawn. Knight has to come back, and we take. Not with that bishop, of course, but we would take pawn, winning the pawn. If the rook was to come to e1 in this position, again, we play b4. The knight has to run back, and we simply take with the knight. And this is once again winning. So basically, e5 is forced in this position. So after the move e5, we simply play the move knight to g4, sorry. And now we're hitting this pawn, and after rook or something comes to defend, we can simply take the pawn sorry, what? No. No, please. Do not take the pawn in this position. So after rook to e1, give me a second. All right, sorry guys, I forgot. We have to take the knight, and then after this, and simply take the pawn. It is a bit confusing. I got a bit confused myself, but yeah. Do remember that after rook comes to defend the pawn, you just have to take this knight. The only thing which is defending this pawn, and we will win it back. So yeah, do not do what I did and blunder by taking the pawn, because no. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, as you can see here, D takes c5 is not an option. Instead, they have to push this pawn, which is pretty much the only viable option that white has. And now, rather than simply moving our knight away to, for example, to g4 or something, or undeveloping it, we are simply going to take the pawn, danger levels, and we are going to attack their knight. Now, there's a lot of different things that white can do. And let's take a look if white doesn't know what they're doing. So if white doesn't know what they're doing, they'll simply just take back. So we will proceed to take. And if white takes back again, if they're getting way too greedy, we simply take back with bishop. And now taking back is not an option because white simply just loses a rook. So yeah, this is very bad for white in this position. So yeah, white cannot take that pawn after. It's just a simple trade otherwise. So here takes, and then white just has to take back. There's no other way forward, and white now has this isolated pawn that we can put a lot of pressure on and start to attack. So yeah, that's very bad. If white needs to know the only winning move in this position, do not lose, and that is the very weird move that you won't find unless your opponent is used to playing the Semi-Slav, which is knight takes b5, which looks very weird, but it is a winning move. So after pawn takes, white takes here, and now what would you play in this position? Would you take with queen, knight, or would you take with pawn? So there's a lot of ways that you can argue this position for black. As you can see, the engine likes taking with pawn after a lot of consideration. And yes, that is the best move. Taking with pawn, which looks absolutely horrible because your king is just not castling anywhere, and the pawn structure is absolutely horrible. So if you don't know how to play this position, I highly recommend you do not play the Semi-Slav if your opponent does know what they're doing. But this is, believe it or not, kind of the best option that black does have in this position. But I would love to play this as white any day. So yeah, let's take a look into this and why g takes f6 is actually winning rather than queen take. Okay, so after the pawn takes the knight, we don't want to take the queen because this pawn is simply hanging, right? We have no counterplay. And yeah, this pawn is hanging. This pawn isn't, but soon after we could kick the queen out, it might be. So yeah. Sorry, no, do not take the pawn. Play this, and now the queen is just trapped. So the queen comes here. yeah, first of all, this pawn will be hanging, and second of all, the queen is trapped. So you guys can play this. The queen is trapped. They can because they can do whatever. It doesn't matter. We're just winning that queen at the end of the day. It's going to be very, very good for white, and 90% of the time, black will just resign in this position. So queen takes is a losing blunder. If knight takes, well then this is actually hanging once again because we do not have a beautiful move that is queen a5 check. Instead, white checks us first, which means we have to do something like this. And now this is just losing because white has two passed pawns, which they will just march down the board, and they will absolutely obliterate us. And yeah, this is just losing. This pawn's hanging. So yeah, knight takes is another losing blunder. G takes f6 is the only move. And the reason why G takes f6 is the only move is because if bishop takes, this is a losing blunder for white. Queen a5 check. We are picking up that bishop. So yeah, bishop blocks and queen takes. So yeah, that pawn's actually not hanging. And now looking into knight takes d4. This pawn is actually not hanging. Well, it is hanging, but it's not hanging because the amount of counterplay that black gets from this is insane. Because now we basically can play moves like queen to b6. We can play bishop to c5. We can play a lot of things, and this king is very insecure right now, which is exactly how we want to the game. So knight takes d4 is a perfectly fine move, but we would just play moves like this. And we have quite a lot of counterplay, especially since we have this nice open rook. Castling short is very, very, very dangerous. We so white does have this move, bishop 3. But then here the engine wants us to play bishop to b4 check, and it evaluates it as minus. Okay, yeah, it does not like this. Let me just find out why real quick. Alright, so I found out why. Because after bishop b4 check, we do not have this. Because after takes, until the queen takes, they hang a knight. So it's not very good. Instead, white has to make the very, very annoying king move. And yeah, we're just going to completely attack white right now. And yeah, that rook is going to cause some troubles down this far. So yeah, definitely this pawn isn't quote unquote hanging as such, but it is, the pawn technically is. So yeah, that's pretty much the mainline Meran for you guys. And that's going to be the end of the video today. So I hope you guys have learned something from this video. Once again, thank you just so much to Sam for helping me out on this video and for teaching me like mainline Semi-Slav and stuff. I will leave a link down below for the chess club Discord server where we have a lot of free lessons, and you guys can come play with some of our members. But yeah, it is the Semi-Slav is a very good opening, but I wouldn't recommend playing it under 1500 because a lot of the positions you get at the end, like you saw where you played d takes f6, the pawn structure is just horrible, and it's like no one will like it if like they don't know what they're doing. So yes, definitely don't play this opening if you're under 1500. I would recommend, but that is basically it for the Meran variation. Later on I might look into the Cambridge Springs, which is another really strong variation in the Semi-Slav that my friend Sam plays against me a lot, and it is very annoying, trust me. I'll ask him to maybe teach me that, or I might do a collab with him. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment down below what you would like to see next time, because I have no idea what you guys want to see. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.